don't know where that came from.
Why? I'd rather look at you. Okay, good morning. We're going to start again, okay? Are you ready?
Yeah.
We just handed out the Unity Spiritual Center Pflugerville membership covenant. And we're going to ask members, all of you, to sign this. Now, when we sign it, we don't want it back. It's not a covenant with the church, it's a covenant with you. And we started talking about, I want to talk about our community. And community is a group of people that get together for common purposes that live in the general direction of each other. And I've been reading articles lately, and there was a poll, I don't remember which magazine it was in, but it was basically that the newer generation is kind of disaffected about church. So I'd rather not call us church, I'd rather call us spiritual community, which is what we talk about. That's why we say Unity Spiritual Center Pflugerville. And in that disaffection, there have been people abused. They've been made to feel guilty, sinful, and all those other negative characteristics, when really the truth is, and what Jesus said, what Paul said, for grace are you saved by faith, that not of yourselves. So one of the basics is you're already a child of God. Because Genesis says you're a child of God, period. So in that process, this is what we teach here at Unity. So when I say, what is unity, I wrote out an interesting statement. You ready? Mm-hmm. And it says, we are a community of kindred souls supporting each other through prayer, service, love, and association, returning on a spiritual path to oneness and union and unity with our divine source. Now, unity means together one. And this here says we are one. And the energy of God is love, so we are one in love. So the whole idea here is we are a community, and that's why we have preferred not to use the term church. It's a shame that that has occurred. But here we are today. What are we? What are we doing? What are we doing together? Why do we bring new members in? What is it that we're about in life? And it's really simply, you ready? We are a community of kindred souls. Anybody agree we're kindred souls?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, do we vary? Yeah, you better believe it. And I hope culturally we have more and more variation. Because the more variation we have, the better it is. Because the more ideas. See, when people think exactly alike, then the whole thing goes stagnant after a while. Mm-hmm. The old ways don't work anymore. We're entering a new generation, so it's time to create a new world. And it takes a lot of thought to create a new world, so that's what we're doing. So we are kindred souls supporting each other. Now, that's one of the ideas in the covenant. It says that we are a group supporting each other. So when I think of you, I think of you in a support, love fashion. Okay? And in the process, we are loving each other. And when I think of you as complete and whole, just as you are. Everybody got that? Now, can we think otherwise? Yep. The world out there teaches you that, but guess what? Those differences are what make us each unique, and we bring our uniqueness to the whole so that in unity we are much better as a, let's call it a oversoul, okay? So it's really fascinating. And then it says, through prayer, and prayer is the common thing, and we've been through this the last couple of weeks on prayer. And prayer, the dictionary and the common world out there says prayer is asking God for things. Just like expecting God to be like a bellhop or Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny. Mm-hmm. And that's really not what it means. What it means is go into the silence, close the door, which is what it says in Matthew, and be on your own. Direct connection with God. And there's no need to go through anything else, talk to anybody else, ask for prayers from anybody else. And running around asking for prayers is saying, I doubt who I am. And what we're saying is each one of us is a child of God with direct access. Okay, now, do we have, I sometimes break connection. Anybody familiar with that? Is it perfect all the time? No, because we mess it up. But the truth is, prayer is what we're about. And then it goes on and says, through prayer and service. And in the covenant you handed out, one of the covenants is It isn't saying you should, it's saying you are you willing to serve the common good in the community here. It's amazing when you do things for others. There's a whole new level of things. And some of you have gotten that, and you have a tendency to serve where, and almost too much, it takes over you. It's called a burnout. Anybody familiar with burnout?
Oh, yeah.
So we all need to share in the burden together. We really do. So we encourage you, and Sue, where's Sue? There she is. Sue is our volunteer coordinator, and several of you have volunteered to take the baskets and do this. We appreciate that. But she needs another volunteer so she doesn't have to come in every Sunday and clean up, or no, do the chairs. Okay, now she's got B and Kathleen coming in one Sunday, but she's got 3 Sundays she'd love to share with somebody else. Okay, and do you have any idea what some of these folks do? I mean, she cleans up every Sunday. Do you ever stay around and watch her sweeping the floor? Wouldn't it be nice to have somebody do that? So there's all these possibilities for service. And then it says love. The language of God is love, okay? And the language of God comes through us. It comes through us. It doesn't just wander out there somewhere. And we're all looking for love out there. Anybody tell you that's one of the problems? Madeline and I have been doing a lot of work together. A lot of, let's call it, waking up. And one of the things I'm starting to understand is that we are all waiting for somebody to make us happy. That just came to me this week. Do you understand that diamonds, beautiful things, yes, and they're extremely valuable. What makes them valuable? Women want them. True? Okay, and it amazed me. How come the flower shops do so well? Because people want flowers. Why? Because it makes me feel good, it makes me happy. So we are wired to being happy, and we're waiting for somebody outside of us to make us happy. It's not going to work. And that's one reason a lot of, let's say, relationships come apart, because I'm expecting her to make me happy when the only one that can make me happy is me. So and if she doesn't make me happy, then she's no good. I need to go find another one, which is our culture, yes? So in looking at that, love is the universal language of love and happiness. And where does it come from? Directly from spirit, when I learn how to connect with it. So it's a direct connection that I can make, and as I make it, in community we share it with each other. Did you ever notice how? It's like I come in here Sunday mornings, and it feels good. Okay, and I can't wait for you all to get here. And it's a different experience, and there was my heart right now. I could feel it going. And I appreciate you doing the meditation, okay? And these are things that we learn to tap into that are not normal world stuff. And when I say that, the culture around us, because it's a subtle energy which is beyond the everyday understanding. So we as a community are bringing that in together. Next step here is it says, service, love, and association. That means associating with people that think the same way. Anybody take a deep breath on that one? And the example I use, when I used to be in my raucous days, my party days, I'll use that terminology. I don't want to go too much further. I don't want to talk about alcohol in it, But the whole idea was, and when I went into a place, let's call it a tavern or bar, okay? You could feel the energy in there, and I knew I shouldn't stay there. Likewise, I go into a church, and I have that different feeling. Anybody agree when you go into churches, you have a feeling, you say, I like it here, I don't like it here. Mm-hmm. So there's an energy that's associated with those around us. And it's us, on purpose, inserting ourselves into groups that feel good to me. And that's why I appreciate you. That's why I love doing what I'm doing. Thank you for hiring me. And so we are an association that is in unity or oneness with God through love. It's a very, very interesting thing. Okay? Now, following what we are doing is following the teachings of our master teacher, Jesus, as it's interpreted in a newer understanding, if I can use that term. Now, I looked up the Bible verses, because you got to use the Bible, sorry. And we are a group of folks that use the teachings of Jesus as an example of how to get along in the world. It's called lifestyle. How can I overcome the problems that I'm dealing with in life? And Paul says, by the way, a lot of people, they think that the order of books in the Bible, there's lots of time between them. But when it comes to the New Testament, it's like Matthew was written in 50 AD, and Ephesians, which I'm going to read, was written 60 AD. 10 years difference. So a lot of people think, no. So Paul was acting and writing and talking sometimes earlier than the earlier Gospels. So if you look at the actual calendar of things, it brings a little bit more perspective on the whole thing. But Paul was writing in Ephesians, and he was writing, and this is, I've already used this terminology, but I'd like to do it again. One more, let me go back. Okay, for by grace are you saved through faith, and not yourselves. It is a gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. Now, I don't know about you, but that's pretty clear to me that you're already okay. Yes? So when people ask me if I'm saved, I say absolutely, and the Bible tells me that. Because you're a child of God. Genesis says right in the beginning, child of God. And it then says at the end of chapter 1, it says, and God saw everything and knew it was good. So how could you be anything less than good? So all this other stuff is man's theology, man's philosophy, man's religion that has been put together to make you feel guilty so you can be controlled. And for me, I've had enough. I want to take control. Now, not me. The Father within doeth the work. And so it's learning to surrender it to divinity or divine source. So starting in the beginning, the unity believes that you're already okay. Everybody got it? So take a deep breath. Feel better? So you can let go of all that guilt. Okay? Then it goes on and says, well, what do we do? Okay, so if I'm not guilty, how come I'm in this mess I'm in? And then it says in Romans, which again was written by Paul, and be not conformed to this world. Now, the world. Anybody familiar with the world? The world is the culture and people out there that tell you what you should do. Okay? And it goes on, be not conformed to the world. So don't think like the world, don't listen to the world. Okay? But be transformed. What does transform mean? Changed. From what? From what the world wants to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And I'd like to add, today's world says by your mind and heart, because mind and heart have to be connected. Then it goes on and says that we may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So God's perfect will of God is for you to be in God, period, and be transformed back to where we should have been when we were first created. In creation, whatever that was. So we have allowed the world to take us over. So what is unity? Well, unity is a group of people that have gotten together for common good, to pray, love, and appreciate each other, and associate with each other, knowing that we're on a track, spiritual path, to be transformed into our original self, with a capital S rather than a small s. Because the capital S is that divinity who you are, that is complete and whole and perfect that the Bible talks about. And it has nothing to do with your age, it has nothing to do with your weight, thank God. It has nothing to do with your hair or lack of hair. It has nothing to do with your race, your gender, any of that. Because it says, perfect will of God. So you are the perfect will of God. Period. Okay? Now, everybody with me so far? Unity, oneness, union. See, we are meant to be one with God. Okay? Then we go on. Got more to do. Okay? Now, this is really interesting. Because Jesus said, he said, if you do all this stuff, and you go back, and by the way, it says you got to forgive, okay? So whoever they are or whatever you're holding against somebody else, you got to give it up. Everybody ready? Doesn't matter what the TV said yesterday. Doesn't matter who did what. And the one I always use is no matter who cut you off in traffic, you love them. And so Jesus taught to forgive yourself, number one, and others, number two, and to give up all that stuff. And then he said, and this, you ready? I've repeated this before, but he said, therefore, be not anxious, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or with what shall we be clothed? For all these things do others seek, for your heavenly Father knoweth that you have need of all these things. So we don't have to pray in the common terminology. So as a group, we're supporting each other in knowing that we are back to, I'll use the term original Christianity. Everybody with that? Unity's been called that original Christianity. So as a group, we don't have to ask for anything. It's already there. However, we've been so sold by the world that we have to work and struggle, whatever it is, so that we have to pray and seek somebody outside of ourselves. And seeking somebody outside of ourselves is saying, I doubt. I doubt. But knowing that I and the Father are one, which is Jesus' famous affirmation, if you will, is the thing that I am, and we are, and that's the big issue we're all working on, is, boy, I hope that's true. Course of Love is really getting into that with us on Wednesday, and a lot of my attitude sometimes is, gee, I hope that's true. When it says you're a child of God and you really have to know it, oh, golly, I hope that's true. But see, it's learning to say, I know that's true, and take it in within your heart. Okay, and knowing it. Okay? So, and then it says, now here's the answer. Everybody ready for the answer? We need a drum roll, right? It says, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, or right thinking, and all these things shall be added unto you. Therefore be not anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will take care of itself. Now, I'm often asked if I believe in Jesus, and I say this a lot. Sure, I believe in Jesus, and I believe what he said. So if we're going to be Christian, I believe we must take the example that Jesus gave us, give us the sayings that Jesus said, and apply them and take them in for reality, and apply them in my life. And what's the outcome of that? You know what Jesus said? You ready? Everybody take a deep breath, because this one is kind of like, okay, where to go? Here it is, John. John, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me. Now, again, Aramaic idioms, he that believeth on me means he that heard my teachings and applied them, okay? Please don't get involved in mystifying Jesus, because he said, I'm the Son of Man. He was very clear about that. And he said, these things I do, ye shall do. Listen to this. He said, that he that believes on me, the works that I do, shall he do also. Now, I'd rather change it to they do also, so we include male and female. I have to do more than anyway. Okay? And the greatest works than these shall they do, because I go unto my Father. And the Father is who? God. Which means we are in the same position as Jesus, our master teacher. And Jesus is saying, hey, here's what you do. So we as unity, what unity is teaching is we are divine, each one of us. We are as Jesus was, and all we have to do is follow his teachings to take us back to where we were originally when we were created. Now, if you look at the other religions, again, looking at the world and the world's religions, they all have this spark of divinity within each one of us. They all do. They talk about it. Prayer and meditation, silence is taught in Buddhism, in Hinduism, and a lot of the other, the worldly dervishes, it is an offshoot of the Muslim. They teach that you can reach nirvana, or what do you call it, super consciousness by whirling. So everybody has their path back to the Father. But all Jesus is describing is a path back to the Father. Now, I believe we have complicated. Everybody get it? Because Matt and I have been through, anything you want to go through, I believe we've been through it. All the heart classes, all the stuff. Somebody brought me mandalas this week, which are great. Some of you have been through mandalas. That's wonderful. It affects the, there's all these things, but the basic is you're a child of God. And it's accepting that child of God, getting in touch with that child of God, is making you complete and whole, just as you are right now today, is what Jesus said. So, membership covenant. I'm going back here. Check out your membership covenant, okay? And what it says is, again, those of you that are new members, please take this, sign it, and put it in your desk or in your Bible. Because I understand that I'm aligned with basic teaching. You understand that Unity Spiritual Center is based on the life and teachings of Jesus Christ. Everybody get it? Very simple. And the truth is, I believe you either accept them or you don't. And that's why we're here. Number 2, I make spiritual unfoldment and relationship with God a priority in my life. Which means I have direct prayer, meditation, silence, whatever it is, for X number of minutes a day. The world wants you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Carve out maybe an hour a day, okay? Then it says, I do my part to support the church's mission to create a vibrant spiritual community, empowering personal transformation by the Christ consciousness. All that means is we are holding the same thought together. Okay? Number 3. Number 4. I join my fellow members and congregants in participating in the creation of a loving, accepting atmosphere. New people come in, we love them because they are part of God. We are all one in unity, and no matter who's here, we honestly love and appreciate each other. Okay? Then it says, I extend myself with loving warmth to newcomers, to my church home, and to those people attending who I do not know. But do you understand, at a real basic spiritual level, we know the world. And when somebody comes in, it's a brother or sister, and they are part of our oneness, or they wouldn't be here. I include the church in my daily prayer life, okay? Which means I'm supporting the group. Next, I include the church in my financial planning, establishing systematic giving, extended joyfully and lovingly. Please underline joyfully and lovingly. Now, so many people are wired to 10%, and a lot of us give 10%. But the idea is 10% was just a figure used back in the early days. So you can do systematic. I'm aware of people who've even done 20 and 30%. However, they did it joyfully and lovingly from their heart. And I know people that do 1 or 2%. Whatever it is, it's from you to spirit, okay? And once you start understanding this, the giving and receiving are the same thing. Because in a way, I'm giving to myself when I give. Okay? Next. I serve as a volunteer periodically, thereby learning the value of selfless service to others. Everybody turn around and smile at Sue. And then look at the rest of the group in the room, your board of directors, your facilitators, your prayer chaplains, everybody. And this church functions because you do your work. RJ I'm still working on all that, what do you call it?
Social media?
Social media stuff. Pinterest. That's a new one for me. I'm finished. Remember, it's beyond our control now. It's going downhill rapidly. Hang on, I'm telling you. I felt it in the room this morning, okay? I speak with constructive purpose about the church and my fellow congregants. If I experience personal upset with a church or a congregant, I seek guidance from Spirit. I pray and and then speak with and resolve any upset with the person or persons involved. Everybody got it? That means no triangulations. No, I'm going to pick on Bruce, I hope you don't mind. But if Bruce has a problem with Tommy, and he comes to me about Tommy, I want to hear it. My first question is, have you talked to Tommy? See, these things become personal between us, and whether you understand it or not, anytime I have a problem with somebody else, that's something I'm dealing with. It's a personality problem with me, and it needs to be resolved at that level. Okay? Interesting. Everybody take a deep breath on that one. And I've seen churches come apart on that very issue. Okay? Next. Questions? Okay. I recognize my presence and participation in church service and activities as a contribution, a gift to enhance the experience to all. Look around. See all the gifts in the room. Seriously, look around. This is your program. This is your congregation. Okay? And each of you is a gift to each one of us as a group. We really are. Well, I don't know how to tell you, I love you. Because you are part of me and I'm part of you, and we are together in this. And it's really fascinating to me. But the truth is, if you're not here, we ask you to not feel guilty, because things happen. Rain occurs, traffic backs people up, vacations occur, families have issues, people have to do weddings, right? All kinds of things have to happen. So if you're not here, we miss you, we love you, but we don't want you to feel guilty. And when you're here, we want you to understand you are a gift. Okay? Next, together with my fellow members and congregants, I am co-creating with God the ongoing dynamic life of Unity Spiritual Center. So you are the energy of this spiritual center. You are. And we're here because you are here, and you keep things going, and you're building that new church. Okay? Right down the corner there. Okay, and then I recognize others together we can help keep its doors open, expand its programs and services, thereby blessing and serving thousands of others like myself. Now, how do we get to a number of 1,000? Well, does anybody here have family? Does family ever tell you they appreciate your attitude? Yeah. And when you affect your family's attitudes, who do they affect? And then who do they affect? And then who do they affect? And who do they affect? See, we are a light in the world making a difference out there. Because there's an oversoul of energy. And this has been proven scientifically that there's energy, this group energy occurs. And the more positive that energy is, the more the world moves toward enlightenment, happiness, and everything we're seeking together. And as we let go of upsets, the world lets go of upsets. And the world has a lot to let go of. So you are part of that process. Okay? And we are. I honor the Spirit in me and the Spirit at work through Unity Spiritual Center. And those of you that are already members, I might entreat you to sign it, put it up on your refrigerator or wherever it is. Those are your new members that are covenant, and I don't want to know about it. It's up to you. So it's your personal interaction with Spirit. It has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with the rest of us. It has everything to do with who you are. So you can put them away. Okay? Now, I'm going to kind of wrap it up. Basically what we're saying in Unity is there's an energy in the universe for good. And that energy is everywhere present, the energy we call love. That energy is there for happiness, for peace, for joy, for abundance, for health, for relationship. And that energy that we can tap into is already there. Now, if we choose to, we can tap into the energy called upset, anger, politics, all these other negative things. And the truth is, all there is God. 13th chapter of Corinthians says, all there is love. There isn't anything else. So So together, we are here as a community of loving souls to support each other in growing the awareness in our consciousness of the life around us. And I'm thankful for that, and I look forward to our new members. Blessings. God bless.
Thank you, Robert.